Welcome to Storyvilla. In a bright and bustling school called Sunrise Public School, the assembly area was alive with children gathering and getting ready. It was parent-teacher meeting day, and everyone was eager to hear how their children were doing. Among the students were two friends, Aarav and Rohan, who sat nervously with their parents. On the podium sat the class teacher, Miss Jane, preparing the school board. After attending to a few students, it was now their turn. Miss Jane looked kindly at Aarav's parents and began. "Mr. Sharma," she said gently, "Aarav is a bright boy, but he struggles in maths. He fears numbers, makes mistakes in addition and subtraction, and often freezes when he sees word problems. In language, he hesitates to read aloud and forgets spellings. He needs steady practice." Aarav's father nodded with worry, and little Aarav lowered his head in embarrassment. Then Miss Jane turned to Rohan's parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Verma, Rohan has similar challenges. Maths confuses him, and in language, he avoids reading assignments. Both boys have potential, but they must build better study habits." That evening, after the PTM, Aarav sat quietly in the playground, uninterested in the games the other children were playing. Noticing him, Rohan leaned over and said, "Come on, let's play. We can study when exams come closer and still score well. Nothing to worry about." But the truth was, what happened after that day made their journeys very different. At home, Aarav thought deeply about what his teacher had said. His father asked softly, "Son, how do you plan to improve your scores?" Aarav replied thoughtfully, "What if I just try a little every day? Even if I'm slow, maybe I'll get better." His father smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. "I'm glad you are thinking in the right direction, Aarav." From that moment, Aarav made himself a promise. Just 15 minutes of maths and 15 minutes of language practice every evening. He carefully noted his weak areas and made a simple daily schedule. Rohan, on the other hand, shrugged and said with a grin, "Why worry now? Exams are months away." At first, Aarav found it difficult. He still made mistakes, but he kept going. He started by solving two easy sums, then practiced tables with flashcards, and slowly began tackling word problems with more confidence. In language, he read one page aloud each night. Sometimes he stumbled, but he did not give up. He wrote 5 new spellings every day and tested himself at the end of the week. Slowly, his reading became smoother, and the spellings stayed in his mind. Most importantly, he kept a fixed time, after playtime, before dinner. Even on busy days, Aarav remembered his promise, just 15 minutes. He would return from the playground without reminders, sticking to the schedule he had set for himself. His friends began to notice. Rohan, meanwhile, had no routine. Some days he solved a question or two and gave up. Other days he said, "I'll do double tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. His homework often lay untouched as he played games or watched TV. Sometimes he even dozed off while pretending to study. Weeks passed, but his fear of maths stayed the same, and his spellings only grew weaker. Even a month before exams, he remained careless. He often invited Aarav to join him, but Aarav politely refused and stayed true to his schedule. As revision time came, Aarav grew more confident and calm, while Rohan grew more anxious. Finally, exam day arrived. The teacher distributed the question papers. Aarav felt nervous as he opened his maths paper, but the questions looked familiar. He had practiced them before. Taking a deep breath, he solved them calmly, one by one. Rohan, however, stared at his paper in panic. The sums seemed impossible, the spellings confusing. He wished he had started earlier, but now it was too late. A few weeks later, another parent-teacher meeting was held. Miss Jane smiled warmly at Aarav's mother and said, "Mrs. Sharma, Aarav has shown wonderful improvement. His daily practice is clear in his results. His maths is stronger, and his reading is confident. I'm proud of his steady effort." Aarav's mother beamed with pride. Aarav sat up straight and added with a smile, "Yes, miss, the habit of daily practice in maths and English has really helped me score well." Then Miss Jane turned to Rohan's father and said seriously, "Mr. Verma, Rohan avoids regular practice, and his marks show it. Without habits, his fear of maths and language remains. He could have done much better." Rohan lowered his head, ashamed, and whispered quietly to himself, "If only I had studied a little every day." As Aarav proudly received his award, Rohan watched with wide eyes, realizing that Aarav's little steps each day had led him to this big achievement. And children, that's how Aarav and Rohan learned very different lessons. Aarav's small habits of just 15 minutes daily practice made him stronger and more confident. Rohan's delays only made things harder. Do like, subscribe our channel for more inspiring and motivating stories. Share it with your friends and families.